Hello and good morning. I'm Levi from the Weather Underground blogger community, and welcome to this first test edition of Tropical Tidbits from the Tundra for Thursday, June 18th. It's really pretty quiet out there in the Atlantic today. The only area of interest people have been talking about is this low forming here along the frontal boundary in the northwest Atlantic, and it really hasn't tightened up much since yesterday, and I don't think it will, as it's going to be getting picked up by this low right here over New England over the next couple of days. You can see the GFS takes it out here in the middle of the western Atlantic, and eventually this low comes, picks it up, and starts to wind up here as the shortwave trough sits down here over the eastern seaboard, and this low starts getting stuck. And the GFS really winds it up here, and the interesting thing is it tries to take it warm core, and that really doesn't seem right because water temperatures here are only like 24 degrees C, and the shortwave, look at that. Look at all that cold air aloft. It's just not going to go warm core. Even if it tried to and go warm seclusion or something like that, it would be definitely subtropical and nothing more than that, because there's just too much cold air aloft, too much of a baroclinic zone in here, and it's not even a true cutoff. It's at 40 N. You've got the jet right there to the north. It's just not going to be truly tropical at all. So I don't think you need to worry about that. And look at this tail end of the front here. Look at that mischief trying to form along the tail. That's interesting right there. We'll have to watch and see if this low can provide some rain for Florida and some of the southeastern states and provide some relief from the heat there, which would be really nice for you folks. And look, the moisture I've been talking about, that the GFS continues to advect northward into the western Caribbean, and it continues to form a low here and move it north towards, yes, Florida, but you got to realize this is 10 days out and we can't be predicting tracks like that this far out in advance. But the point is, my area of watchfulness in here, it's still consistent on the model, and it keeps showing the heat moving northward from the East Pacific with the MJO. And the worldwide tropical basins look like they're starting to get going. Look at that. We got our first June named storm, Linfa, in the western Pacific, developed from the invest that was west of the Philippines here, and it's got another competing invest here that's starting to weaken finally and pulling away, allowing this thing to develop, and it'll be going off northeast towards Taiwan here over the next few days. The other potential named storm here, tropical depression number 1 here in the eastern Pacific, and this really should have been labeled yesterday as a tropical depression, but the NHC has been really conservative this year so far, so I'm not surprised they waited. But anyhow, it's going towards the Gulf of California and may get named over the next day or two, and that would bring our global count up to 2 for this month. And maybe we can finally get some things going here. You can see the MJO, and look at all this dry air and downward motion. I mean, hanging out in the Indian Ocean, western Pacific, slowly propagating to the east here with time. It's really getting stuck. I didn't put the graph on here, but you can really see that as soon as it hits phase 8, it just crashes and really can't get any farther than that. It's because this El Nino pattern, it's feeding back. It's a reactive El Nino, so this set it up right here. It shut down the Indian monsoon, and as a result, you get high pressure here, and I can't even draw an H with this yet, still getting used to this. And then you get low pressure right here because you get downward motion, air spreads out, you get easterlies, and air flows from high pressure to low pressure. You get low pressure and heat building up in here, and that's the classic El Nino atmospheric signature. And when you start getting that going, it's hard to break it down, so the MJO is having a hard time getting across. Eventually it will, but for now we've got this area of upper motion over the eastern Pacific and Caribbean that we'll have to watch, as that's a favorable time for mischief to start getting a foothold in the Caribbean over the next couple of weeks. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for this first test edition of Tropical Tidbits from the Tundra for June 18th. Thank you for bearing with me, and have a great day.